What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we re-dive in deep into a topic that affects every single one of us, the psychology of money. Specifically, we're going to unpack the mindset shifts and psychological principles that separate the wealthy from everyone else. This isn't about stock tips or get-rich-quick schemes. This is about rewiring your brain for financial success. You might think getting wealthy is all about spreadsheets, market analysis, and maybe a little bit of luck. And while those things can play a part, the real foundation of wealth is built between your ears. It's about your beliefs, your habits, and your emotional relationship with money. Let's start with a foundational concept: your money mindset. Have you ever heard someone say, "Money is the root of all evil," or "rich people are greedy"? These are common money scripts, subconscious beliefs we pick up from childhood, our culture, and our experiences. If you subconsciously believe that having money makes you a bad person, you will unconsciously sabotage your own efforts to build wealth. It's like trying to drive a car with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. You won't get very far. The first step to getting wealthy is to excavate these limiting beliefs. Take a moment and really think, what did you learn about money growing up? Was it a source of stress and arguments? Was it seen as a scarce resource to be hoarded? Or was it viewed as a tool for freedom and opportunity? Identifying your own money scripts is the first, crucial step toward rewriting them. A powerful reframe is to see money not as an end goal, but as a tool. It's a tool that can buy you time, freedom, experiences, and the ability to help others. When you see it as a neutral tool, you strip it of its negative power. Now, let's talk about the difference between being rich and being wealthy. This is a game changer. Being rich is about your income. You might have a high salary, a fancy car, and a big house. It's visible. It's flashy. But wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the money you haven't spent. It's the assets in your investment portfolio, the cash in your savings, the real estate that's paid off. It's the money that's working for you while you sleep. Many high-income earners are not wealthy. They fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation. Every time they get a raise, they upgrade their car, their house, their vacations. Their expenses rise to meet their income, leaving them on a treadmill where they have to keep earning more just to maintain their lifestyle. They are one job loss away from financial trouble. The truly wealthy understand this distinction. They focus on their net worth, not just their paycheck. They prioritize saving and investing a significant portion of their income, no matter how much they make. This brings us to our next psychological hurdle: delaying gratification. In our instant gratification world, this is a superpower. Every ad, every social media feed is designed to make you want something right now. The latest phone, the trendiest clothes, the most exotic vacation. Resisting this constant pressure is incredibly difficult, but it is the absolute cornerstone of building wealth. Every dollar you spend today on something you want truly need is a dollar that Key A and B invested to grow into $10, $20, or $100 in the future. This isn't about depriving yourself of everything you enjoy. It's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself, does this purchase align with my long-term goals? Instead of impulsively buying the latest gadget, the wealthy mindset involves a conscious pause. It has the ability to say "not now" in favor of a bigger yes later on. DSF financial freedom, of retiring early, of not having to worry about bills. This requires a long-term perspective. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's the result of consistent, small, positive actions compounded over decades. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't get a giant oak tree the day after you plant a seed. You water it, you give it sunlight, and you wait. Most people want the shade today without ever planting the seed. The wealthy are patient gardeners. They understand the power of compound interest, which Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world. They know that the small, unsexy act of consistently investing month after month, year after year, will eventually lead to an incredible financial harvest. Another critical psychological trait is how the wealthy view risk. Most people are terrified of losing money. The thought of the stock market going down triggers panic and fear. This is loss aversion, a cognitive bias, where the pain of losing is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. So, when the market dips, the average person's instinct is to sell everything to stop the pain. The wealthy, however, have a different relationship with risk. They understand that volatility is the price of admission for long-term returns. They see market downturns not as a crisis, but as an opportunity. It's a sale. When stocks are down, it means you can buy shares of great companies at a discount. They play the long game. They don't let short-term market noise derail their long-term strategy. This doesn't mean they are reckless. They take calculated risks based on education and a clear understanding of their own risk tolerance. They diversify their investments to protect themselves, but they don't let fear keep them on the sidelines, hiding in low-yield savings accounts where their money is actually losing value to inflation over time. This brings me to another point: the importance of continuous learning. The world of finance is constantly changing. The wealthy are perpetual students. They read books, listen to podcasts, and learn from experts. They don't just hand their money over to a financial advisor and forget about it. They take ownership of their financial education. They want to understand what's happening with their money, what strategies are being used, and why. This knowledge builds confidence and reduces fear. When you understand the principles of investing, you're less likely to panic during a market downturn because you understand it as a normal part of the cycle. Think about your own time. How much time do you spend scrolling through social media versus reading a book about personal finance? The wealthy invest their time in activities that have a high return. Learning about money is one of the highest return activities you can ever engage in. Finally, let's touch on the psychology of spending. The wealthy are often surprisingly frugal. You might picture them with private jets and yachts, and while some live that way, many multimillionaires live relatively modest lifestyles. Think of Warren Buffett, who still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. This is UNT because they can afford more. It's because they derive more satisfaction from seeing their wealth grow and having financial security than they do from owning luxury goods. They practice what's called stealth wealth. They don't need to signal their success to others with expensive status symbols. Their confidence comes from their balance sheet, not their brand name clothing. They've decoupled their ego from their spending. This is a profound psychological shift. It's about finding your self-worth internally rather than seeking validation through external possessions. When you stop trying to impress people, you'll be amazed at how much money you have left over to invest in your own freedom. So, to recap the key psychological shifts for getting wealthy. First, identify and rewrite your limiting money scripts. See money as a tool, not as good or evil. Second, focus on building wealthy or net worth, not just chasing a high income. Third, master the art of delayed gratification. Learn to say no to trivial things now for a bigger yes later. Fourth, develop a long-term perspective and embrace the power of compounding. Be a patient gardener. Fifth, reframe your view of risk. See market downturns as opportunities, not crises, and never stop learning. And finally, decouple your ego from your spending. Find joy in financial security, not in status symbols. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. It is less about what happens in the economy and more about what happens in your own mind. By adopting these psychological principles, you're not just learning how to manage money, you're building the very foundation upon which a life of financial freedom is built. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you some valuable insights to think about. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content on building a better financial future. Let me know in the comments which of these psychological shifts resonates with you the most. See you in the next video.